The Earth is not an eternal world, it is only a school. The English publicist and public figure William Stead, who died in 1912 during the shipwreck of the Titanic, conveyed such a message to his daughter by means of an automatic letter. William Stead began to be interested in the question of life after death long before this tragic event. He collected and published confirmations that the existence of a human personality never ends. The publicist in one of his stories was also able to predict his death, and after its occurrence write another book. He called death the door from one room to another. He said that the atmosphere that prevails in these rooms is very similar in many ways, and one hand rules in each of them. Even during his lifetime, Stead believed that the other world was not someone's beautiful invention at all. According to the publicist, if you thoughtfully investigate this problem, then it can be proved. In his books, he said that a person can anticipate his imminent departure or the departure of people close to him. The life of the writer himself has become a confirmation of this. The journalist often liked to repeat that he would not die a natural death. Either the heroes of my revelatory articles will ruin me, or I will drown, he said. William Stead's story called Through the Eyes of a Survivor about how a ship sank in the middle of the Atlantic is also called Prophetic. It was published a quarter of a century before the sinking of the Titanic. The main character of this story is Sailor Thompson. He sails on a mail ship across the Atlantic. During this journey, the sailor comes up with the idea that the number of lifeboats on passenger ships does not correspond to the number of passengers. And in the event of a shipwreck, many of those sailing will not be able to escape. The shipwreck also occurs in this story. 2 ships collide in it. The passengers of one of them are dying. This was exactly what William Stead himself was destined to do. During the wreck of the Titanic, he helped women and children escape, while he remained on deck to wait for the inevitable. A few weeks after the incident, William Stead's daughter Ethel was able to establish a connection with her departed father. She was helped in this by Pardo Woodman, who had the ability to write automatically. All William Stead's messages received in this way were published in the book Blue Island, a book written by him after he left his physical body. In the book, Stead describes the place where he found himself after death and his daily activities, as well as shares reflections on life as it seemed to him now from another world. The book was first published in 1922. Even in the manuscript, it aroused the great interest of the proponent of the ideas of spiritualism, the writer Arthur Conan Doyle. His letter addressed to his daughter, Estelle Stead, is included in the book. Chapter 13. I left Earth a few years ago, and although my connection with my former life and old attachments has never been interrupted, I have never, since I left the Blue Island, had any desire to return to Earth to live there again. There were times when I really wanted to become an earthly person for at least a couple of hours. With my special vision, I saw how to act in certain situations. At such moments, I really wanted to return to Earth for at least an hour to make some improvements, but apart from these transient desires, I never wanted to live on Earth again. My travels, my work, and my studies on this side are vital to me. During my stay here, I acquired a lot of knowledge and was able to pass on some of it to people. Since I left your world, I have been very interested in its development, experiencing its internal and external difficulties. I am still a patriot, just like most of us, and I will remain one as long as I have personal connections with the Earth. When they are no more, my interests will gradually turn completely to my relatives on this side, and others will take my place, and so the human race will continue to move forward, developing and improving. Looking back on my life since I arrived on Blue Island, I feel very satisfied with the progress I have made. It was a shock to be here. At the beginning of that year, I had no idea that death was so close, and I absolutely did not want it to happen so soon. I had a lot of important things to do. I managed to finish some of them, and I continue to observe the development of the rest. Soon after arriving, I began to get used to new conditions, new surroundings, new ways of moving and communicating. We don't talk much to each other here. We have a more expressive and individual way of communicating. Here, thoughts are transmitted from one mind to another, without the need for vocalization. Although if desired, we can talk in earthly language. Our worlds are very different from each other in many ways, but one of the most blessed and merciful differences I see is that the physical here does not create obstacles for the mental. You may have desires and ambitions of various kinds on Earth: money, business success, pleasure, strength, knowledge, but material conditions limit, constrain them, and often hinder their implementation. Here, if desires are good, nothing prevents them from coming true. In this world, any desire for truth, knowledge, whatever, will be satisfied in the most amazing way. Good or evil, it will bear fruit. If it is evil, it will grow in power, and you will have to pay for it. If it is kind, it will also grow, and its fruits will be strength and happiness. I want to emphasize once again what you are. You will be. Being on Earth, you prepare yourself for new living conditions. They are created by your current life, the nature of your thoughts. This world, which I have been in for a long time, is as close to Earth as it is possible to imagine. It is full of minerals, plants, animals, and various forms of life. All the animals that you loved and raised on Earth will be here with you. Other animals that don't belong to anyone will remain like this here, but they will have their place. You'll say, "Oh, so this is a reflection of our world." It's not like that. This Earth is a reflection of this world. Earth is not an eternal world. It is only a school. You do not live on Earth to accumulate wealth and enjoy life. You are here to know your character, learn to control and develop it in order to fully use all the benefits of the Earth, managing them and not allowing them to take over. So, as I said, looking back at my life here, I'm happy with what I've done both personally and more broadly. We, spiritual personalities, have achieved great success in communicating with the earthly world. We were greatly helped by the spiritual strength of all the young people killed in recent battles around the world, not only the British, but also representatives of other nations. They brought with them energy and determination, and with this power we were able to break down many of the barriers separating the two worlds. These truths do not coincide with the ideas of many people, but this is not a reason to declare them a lie. The truth can sometimes be unexpected and not very pleasant, but it is always stronger and will become known, regardless of whether it brings joy or pain. Climb, in reality or in imagination, to a high cliff overlooking the sea. Let it be a clear, starry, frosty night, and you should be alone. Stand there for a while, look down at the lights of the anchored ships and think, and then look up to the stars. You know where you are. You see the flickering and moving lights on the ships below. You see them. You are very close to them, and they could hear you if you called them. But it will be easier to wait until the twilight clears and they will see you themselves without any effort on your part. The same thing happens to us. We remember those we left behind on Earth. Some of us are ready to wait, while others struggle with all their might, trying to make themselves heard. We are very close to Earth, and the distance between us and the great universe is the same as between the rock on which you stand and the farthest star. We have passed a very small part of the way. We haven't forgotten anything yet. We keep love in our hearts. In the preface to this book, Stead writes, "We had a lot of conversations. The messages received from my father contain clear evidence of his continued existence." What do these messages say? For example, they contain descriptions of the events that happened to William Stead immediately after his death. According to William Stead, at first he, along with other souls, watched the Titanic disappear under the water, and then all the dead set off on their way. They soon found themselves at a place Stead called the Blue Island. Here Stead was met by his father, who died before the events described. Stead noted that his father looked much younger at the time of their meeting than at the end of his earthly life. Now they looked not like father and son, but like two brothers. In his messages, William Stead says that the Earth is not an eternal world, it is only a school. Living here, a person is just preparing himself for new living conditions. These conditions are created by your current life. If you act wisely in it, then there are many grandiose and bright things waiting for you in the true world. The rest will experience many difficulties and sorrows. Earthly life is not given to us in order to accumulate wealth and enjoy ourselves. You are here to know your character, to control and improve it.